So I think we all agree that Fromville isn't some cursed zip code, and at least for the context of this video, that it is probably some type of parasitic pocket dimension where there are a few survivors that, for whatever reason, repeat this cycle over and over and over, and it's been repeating itself for centuries, and everybody else are just the unluckiest people in the world who just happen to probably get trapped in this place and they just have to attempt to survive. And if you thought for a second that the biggest problem, at least the one that's coming up, is some soggy scarecrows waking up from a nap in the lake, then I think we may be drastically underestimating what we're actually dealing with. So I'm going to put this theory on the table right now. I think that the man in yellow and maybe even the Kimono Lady are two apex predators from the same mythology. And I also think that Fatima is accidentally constructing a supernatural hitman, to say the least. And the reason that I believe that Julie failed at doing anything with the past timeline, even leaving her bookmark, is because I think this dimension is a closed, deterministic loop that will quickly correct itself if it finds a problem with it. And I say all that to say, to understand where episode 5 is probably going to take us, I think we have to take a step back and look at some of the foundational lore of the town. One thing that I went back and researched, and I think we all know that the creators did tell us that they've had the ending plan since season 1, episode 1. So they've always known how they wanted to end the story. So that tells me that the entire narrative is probably a closed loop, because to know how it's going to end as soon as it starts means this is a closed loop cycle and it just happens over and over and over. And our characters may not escape this loop like we may hope they will. And just for an example, let's take a look back at Julie's failed story walking attempt. In episode 4, she tried to use the chronological book that was introduced in season 1 to navigate the past and try to physically leave a bookmark back to where she didn't know she was going back 1978. She thought she was going probably closer to where her father was. But her whole plan was to leave a bookmark. That way, you know, like a bookmark, you can go back to this place in the story anytime that you want to. But like I just said, the plan completely backfired. And why did it backfire? I'm not really sure. Why did it take her to 1978 and not to when the night before her father died in the trailer? Not really sure about that part. But one thing I will say and allude to is, if my theory is right and this is a closed loop, then the reason that she went back to 1978 instead of the time with her father is because that's just what was supposed to happen. And just to kind of back that up a little bit, I'll take it even further with going back to the paintings that are in Henry's basement that were painted by Miranda. She painted all the iconic town locations long before she went there. So that tells me that while she had dreams or visions of this place, everything that she saw was already predetermined. So while we all think that she may have been having visions, what if she was having an extreme case of deja vu? And maybe that's one of the reasons why everybody feels helpless. And speaking of people that feel helpless, that brings me to Fatima and her creating her golem. Now, we already know that this is probably bad news anyways, because she's up there in the attic doing this in private and not telling anybody, and she's keeping it a big secret. And while a couple people know, she doesn't even want the person that she trusts the most to know what she's doing, because I guess maybe she thinks Ellis will think she's crazy. I'm not sure, but everything is pointing to this golem not being what I think that she wants it to be, and which is a protect. We haven't seen any indications of it, but that doesn't mean that she's not creating some type of anomaly right there inside the colony house. And this could end catastrophically for everybody involved, including herself. Now, talking a little bit more about episode 5 and the episode 5 trailer, they have little breadcrumbs about this closed time loop, in my opinion, kind of planted all over that trailer. Let's start with Boyd and Jade. And we know they're going to be heading out on their what a long, strange trip has been vision quest. And I do believe that this trip is going to push them into uncharted territory. And we even see some of the clips in the trailer that Jade is going to be placed inside of one of those rock tombs. And honestly, I didn't see Boyd in that shot. So I think this may just be a vision, or him maybe taking the place of Christopher in that vision. And I think the dimensions are kind of collapsing together. And what I mean by that is, his brain is unlocking and he's finally seeing all of Christopher's visions and what became of his situation. And I think this is going to be a way that he finally figures out what those symbols mean, what the ghostly children mean. And this could be something potentially very important, especially for Jade and the rest of his story going forward. Now, before we go any further, let's go back to episode 4 real quick and talk about the man in yellow eating that liver. Now, this little tidbit is rooted deeply in Japanese mythology. And this is where the yokai, and I hope I'm saying that right, but the shapeshifters must consume human livers, and that's in order to absorb their chi and keep their human appearance. Now, if they are using different folklore in the Fromville, then this would explain the whole man in yellow transforming into Sophia. And it also kind of perfectly explains Elgin's Kimono Lady trying to drown him in the tub. Now, the Kimono Lady may not be as important to the story, but we definitely know the man in yellow is probably one of the biggest apex predators in the show. And we can back that up with Miranda's painting in the basement of the man in yellow sitting there smiling. And I think that's just an indication that he is central to the story and he enjoys watching everybody suffer. And that's clearly what he's been doing through the episode so far, because in episode 4, we just saw him put Sarah through a test and, which she initially failed at first, but how did Sophia know that Sarah did or didn't drink the water? Let me know what you guys think about that and what your theories are on that and how she knew. She can clearly see over everything. So what's the catch there? How did she see her and know that Sarah didn't drink the water, and then when she did, now she's better? But little games like that, the man in yellow or Sophia has been playing with everybody throughout the entire time in this show, allowing Tabitha to dig a hole and then let them build a radio tower just to tell them that, hey, you might want to stop this. And I'm pretty sure he controlled the weather or somebody controlled the weather and blew the radio tower over. So, like I said, the man in yellow is here and he's been playing a lot of games and it's been for a very long time. And finally, we have to talk about that Lake of Tears. And is it really the Lake of Tears? Because honestly, I don't think it's just that simple. And when I'm speaking of the Lake of Tears, I'm speaking of the Brundles, because I don't think the Brundles is the Lake of Tears. I think the Lake of Tears could be a body of water, but it also could be a metaphor for something different. What if the Lake of Tears is a literal pool of suffering in the tunnels under the town? Or what if it's a lake under the town in the tunnels? Because we haven't really explored the tunnels a lot, so we don't know everything that's down there. Think to Miranda's paintings that had the forest surrounded by water and a burning church. What was that representing? And was that body of water around the burning church and the forest the Brundles? Is the town going to flood and be cleansed? Is that going to become the Lake of Tears? What is all this in relation to? Because we just saw Roger conveniently just pull the rope and these big soggy scarecrows get pulled out of the water. And we see in the trailer that, they are going to come to life. So is this the town kind of the whole knowledge has a cost thing and the scarecrows are coming alive to somebody's probably going to die, because we see one of the scarecrows punching down and he's probably going to kill somebody. And it's probably going to be one of the minor characters. It could be somebody big, but I doubt it. It may be Rogers. I mean, he pulled him up and he could have just left it alone. So maybe Roger has to go. But do you think this is something where the town is saying, hey, you guys are getting too close to something, so we have to scare you away? Because the real question is, one, how did those scarecrows get in the water? How long have they been there? Why are they just popping up now? Of all the things in the world to be pulled out of the water are scarecrows? And then we see Miranda having a flashback to where she's seen these scarecrows before, or at least she feels like she has when she was a little kid having a dream. And we're also going to see flashbacks of Jade when he was a young man and in this episode, and I'm not sure what his are going to be related to. But what do you guys think these scarecrows mean? Do you think they're good, bad? Well, they're probably bad in this instance because they're definitely busting through the walls and they're going to punch down on something or somebody. Maybe they miss, maybe they don't, but what do you guys think the purpose of the scarecrows is? Is it to scare them? Is it to protect them? Is this a consequence of Fatima making her golem? Maybe her golem works? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments about that theory. So before we get out of here, I do believe that Jade's mushroom trip is going to reveal something big about the cycle and how it probably overlaps, or some key detail I do believe is going to be revealed in this episode. I could be wrong and I hope I'm not, but I do believe that there's going to be some key detail revealed in this episode that will push the narrative forward and maybe give us some clues about what's coming next. And then we know Julie at some point is going to continue story walking, and maybe she will, maybe she won't be successful, or maybe she'll learn more about the man in yellow because I don't believe they're done running into each other yet. And then this whole thing with Fatima's Golem. What do you guys think about this in general? And I do not believe this is going to work. And like I said, she's doing this in secrecy. Only a few people know about it, and she wants them to keep it a secret. So usually these are signs pointing to something bad is going to happen. And this could be a doorway for the monsters to come from the cave straight into the house. Who knows what it is? I don't think it's going to be that simple either, but I don't believe her doing something as simple. Well, maybe it's not that simple, but I do feel like we are finally going to start getting some more monster action. And I know we have all been missing it. I've seen people saying it. Hell, I've been kind of saying it. While I've been enjoying the episodes that we've had so far, I do miss those damn monsters because those are the things that made our skin crawl and made us wonder when the next person was going to die or could die or what the hell was just going to happen next. So I'm glad that it seems like we're finally going to start getting some more monster action. But I think that is it for this episode. I don't want to fry my brain or yours any more than it already may be. So jump down in the comments, let me know what you guys are thinking, and tell me what you think about episode 5 and what you all are expecting. Definitely want to hear your thoughts about this whole Lake of Tears thing. Do you really think it's the Lake of Tears? I'm just not thinking it's that simple, but maybe it is, and maybe I'm just thinking a little bit too much into it. But you guys let me know what you think. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. We are getting closer and closer to that 1,000 subscriber goal. And I appreciate you all for getting us this far because this is a team effort and I am here for you. And I appreciate you all being here for me. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you.